Hello, welcome back to Mr. Kenrick's online math class. Today's lesson is the second part of 3.3 one-step equations with addition and subtraction. You can go ahead and keep writing these notes on the same page as you started with yesterday, 3.3 one-step equations with addition and subtraction. Today's focus is going to be on writing and solving equations. So we're going to be using written sentences to help us write and solve one-step equations. When we are writing equations, we want to look for words such as sum, difference, less, and more, as well as is. Okay, so these, when we're reading mathematical sentences, we want to try to pay attention for words such as sum, difference, less, more, or is. Okay, go ahead and pause here. Make sure you write down these key vocabulary words, and then push play when you're ready to continue. Alright, so first I would like you to write down the directions here to write an equation and then solve. Okay, and the sentence that we are working with is the sum of a number x and negative 5 is 4. Okay, so we got multiple keywords in here. The sum tells us that we are adding numbers together. So this is going to be an addition of a number x. So they give us the variable. We're going to use the variable x to write this equation. So we're adding the sum of x and negative 5. So we have negative 5 is 4. So is tells us is like an equal sign. Okay, so when we're going to write our equation, we know that it's going to say equal to 4. Okay, and then we are adding the sum of x plus negative 5. So the sum of a number x and negative 5 is 4. So we have x plus negative 5 equals 4. Okay, so this is going to be our equation. And then now we're going to solve for x. So we have x plus negative 5 equals 4. And we want to isolate the variable on one side. In order for us to do that, we need to do the opposite of negative 5, which is adding 5. So we're going to add 5 to get rid of this 5 next to the variable. And then if we do it on one side, we have to do it on the other side. So these would cancel out, and we would be left with x equals 9. Okay, and if we plug that back into our equation, 9 plus negative 5 equals 4. And plus negative 5 is the same thing as 9 minus 5, and 9 minus 5 is equal to 4. Okay, make sure you have this example written down in your notes, and continue when you are ready. Alright, the next one, we have 4 less than a number, n, is negative 15. Okay, so we got some key words here. 4 less, so that is going to be minus 4. 4 less. Then a number n, they gave us n as the variable. So we're going to use n as the variable. And then we have is the equal sign, equal to negative 15. Okay, so we have equals negative 15. And then 4 less than a number n, so that's going to be n minus 4. Now sometimes students will get confused and just say 4 minus n, and that would be incorrect because it's 4 less than n, not n is 4 less. So we got to make sure we put it in the right order. 4 less than n is equal to 15. So our equation would be n minus 4 equals negative 15. So here's the first part of our answer. We've written the equation, and now we can solve it. N minus 4 equals negative 15. Okay, in order for us to isolate the variable, we need to get rid of that negative 4. So we're going to do the inverse operation, or the opposite of subtracting 4, which is adding 4. And if we do it to one side, we must do it to the other. Negative 4 plus 4, those will cancel out. And then we have negative 15 plus 4. So if we use absolute value, negative 15 has a larger absolute value, so our answer is going to be negative. And then we can subtract 15 minus 4, which would equal 11. So our answer is going to be n equals negative 11. And if we plug that back in, negative 11 minus 4 equals negative 15. And that is true. Make sure you have this example down before you continue. Alright, this one we have a word problem. And it says a company has a profit of $1,250 this week. The profit is $900 more than last week's profit. What was this week's profit? Okay, so we have a couple different numbers that will be important for us in solving the equation. And then we also have what was this week's profit? So that is going to be that question. The unknown is going to be our variable. Okay, so what was this week's profit? I'm going to underline this question, and I'm just going to use the variable x here. Okay, now we have these two numbers. We have this week's profit, and we have this number that tells us the profit is $900 more than last week's profit. So I'm going to start with the $1,250, and then I'm going to move to this sentence where it says the profit is. So remember, is our equal sign. Okay, so I'm going to put $1,200 is, and then we have 900 is $900 more. More is an addition calculation, so we're going to have $900 plus, and then we have the unknown, so plus x. Okay, so 1,250 equals 900 plus x. That is going to be our equation. That's the first part of our challenge here. And then the second part is solving for the value of x. So we have 1,250 equals 900 plus x. Okay, now in order for us to solve for x, we need to isolate the variable. So we need to undo that 900, and we're going to do that by subtracting 900. If we do it on one side, we have to do it on the other. Okay, positive 900 minus 900, this will cancel out to 0. And then we have 1,250 minus 900. And we got 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. And 12 minus 9 is 3. So we have 350 equals x. And if we plug that back in, 900 plus 350 will give us 1,250. So this right here tells us that this week's profit was $900 more than last week's profit, and last week's profit was $350. Alright, then we got one more example here. We want to find the value of 4x plus 8 when x minus 9 equals negative 1. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is solve for x over here, and then we're going to plug it back in to our expression over here. Okay, so we have x minus 9 equals negative 1. So our first task is to isolate the variable, get it by itself by adding 9. And if we do it to one side, we need to do it to the other. Negative 9 plus 9 cancels out because they are opposites. And then we'll be left with x equals negative 1 plus 9 would be 8. So x is equal to 8. And then we are going to plug it in over here so that we would get 4 times 8 plus 8. 4 times 8 is 32. So 32 plus 8. And that would equal 40. So the value of this expression is 40.